Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 7 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here today to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Today I want to look at the subject of talking to others, convincing others, getting others to get it. You know, there's a lot of books out there on how to be influential with others, and they're wonderful. I just think that many of them don't take into account the neurological components of this. For those of you who follow my Life from the Top of the Mind philosophy, you know how our brain processes information has a lot to do with how we think, how we feel, and how we are perceived by others and how we can be influential with others. Just met a wonderful speaker, a gentleman by the name of Dean Minuto. He has a course called Yescalate, Getting Others to Yes Faster. I love it. I would encourage you to check it out. It's really great. And Dean talks about this, and I talk about this, the idea that, we've got to understand how the brain works in order for this to work. Again, for those of you who know my Life from the Top of the Mind philosophy, you know that this middle part of the brain, this limbic system, is actually the part of the brain that gets information first. And its mission on the planet is to keep us safe, so it has a tendency to be a little suspicious, a little hypercritical of all the information it perceives. It has a tendency to encode negative information more intensely than it does positive information. And therefore, when it feels like it's under attack or threatened or is trying to be convinced of something by someone, it automatically resists. I mean, you've had this experience. I mean, you've been in a conversation and someone was trying to convince you of the righteousness of their perspective. Didn't you notice automatically you were resisting? You weren't going, thank you for sharing, feels really good. The quote that I'm sending out to those 5,000 people on my quote list that speaks to this, it says, you can't get people to yes by telling them no. So what we've got to be willing to do is make sure that they get that we get it. See, they can't get it unless they know we get it, because if we don't get it, then our solution, our ideas have no meaning because we don't understand the situation in the first place. That's why Stephen Covey talks about the concept of seek first to understand and then be understood. Now, understanding doesn't necessarily mean agreement, and I think that's where a lot of people get hung up. Well, I can't say I understand that because it would mean I agree. No, not necessarily. It just means you can see, based on how they see the world, how they would be upset about that or resistant to that or in some ways how they would think and feel, what they're thinking and feeling. So that willingness to listen, that willingness to really say, okay, help me understand what's important to you here. What do you want me to know about this? Well, that automatically changes the dynamic because no longer are we trying to convince them of something, we're trying to understand. They want to be understood, so they tell us. And then if we can say, okay, that makes sense. I can see how you would see it that way. Doesn't necessarily mean we agree with it. It just means that we can see, based on how they see the world, how they would believe that. Now they're going to be much more open to what we say next because we haven't told them they're wrong. We haven't told them no. We can't get them to yes by telling them no. What we've said is, okay, I get it, and, not but, because that's what a lot of people do. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but that's like going up to a member of your family saying, I really love you, but I just whatever, but kind of negates anything that comes before it. So you say, okay, I can understand how you'd see it that way, and I've got some thoughts about that as well. And so now we can share our thoughts if we do it from the neocortex, from our neocortex to their neocortex. And the way to do that is to make sure we're framing our perspective from a neocortex future-oriented, solution-oriented perspective. Rather than debating about the problem in the past. Well, yeah, you never did this and you always do this and the other day you did that and all of a sudden they kind of clench back down again. But you say, okay, so if we were doing this differently, in a way that worked for both of us, in a way that maybe we would teach to those we love, what would we be doing differently here? See, that's a wonderful question because it begins to address the true problem, which is the dynamic in the conversation, not necessarily the issue du jour. So many people get caught up in the righteousness of their perspective on one particular issue. And then the issue just changes from time to time and time and time, but you still stay in that conflict. I'm a big fan of going to the future and saying, okay, if we were doing this differently, in a way that we would teach to those we love. What if our kids were sitting here watching, say, hey, Mom, Dad, teach me how to engage someone so they truly understand my perspective and we get to a solution. I think we would be engaging people in a very different way. We would be engaging them from the top of the mind, from this clear, confident, creative, compassionate part of who we are. The people that we're talking to would sense that, and they would be more open to what we say. They'd be more willing to get it because, number one, we've gotten it first. We've shown them that we understand. Now they can begin to do the same, and we can begin to move that conversation toward a solution-focused ending. I hope you're finding these videos valuable. I'm having a wonderful time bringing them to you. If you do, please hit the like button. You know how Google and YouTube and Pinterest and Facebook all love it when people like it. If you think this information on getting others to get it would be valuable for your friends, please share it with them. Again, makes a huge difference in how those social media platforms recommend it to others. If you would like me to come and do a workshop or your organization on getting others to get it, how to be influential by accessing different parts of the brain, just go to my website, Ph.D.com, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in, and I'd love to work with you around that. In the meantime, here's to you, bringing more clarity about what's important, creativity about how you do it, confidence in your ability to engage someone, understanding them before you seek to be understood. More clarity, confidence, and creativity to everything you do. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.